Welcome to the Future Jam. I'm Mike. Harrison's here with me, obviously, and we have Chris Compton in the house. Chris, he runs Smart Home HQ, and he also has Smart Home HQ podcast, and it all revolves around smart home technologies. Welcome, Chris.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. It's awesome.
We're glad to have you here.
We're going to talk a little bit about how to make your dumb house a little bit smarter.
Yeah, not average home, smart home. Yeah, see? You like that? Yeah,
my wife was super confused. She was asking me, like, Mike, what exactly is a smart home? Because in her mind, she was like, the walls talk. Like, everybody gets this idea in their head.
No, that's
like,
an hallucination. That's not a smart home.
Everybody gets this idea that smart homes are like what they see in movies, you know?
Yep, the one movie that sticks out that everyone makes comments on is the Disney smart home movie with I don't remember her name, but it was Al Bundy's wife. She was like the smart home, and she went psycho towards the end of it and started locking people in and doing all this crazy stuff. So I always explain it this way. A smart home is a home that just makes whatever daily task you do just a little bit easier. So it doesn't, that's the most simplified way I can answer that without going into a lot of details. Now, me personally, I went way overboard. I think I got close to that Disney home. I got the speakers that talk to you when you open the door. It did all this other stuff, and then you start leveling some of that stuff away over time because you're like, okay, it's cool, but it doesn't really help me every day. And the third or fourth time the kid's running in and out and the house talks to you, maybe I can slim and simplify things down a little bit. Right. So for most people, it's not that crazy gadget smart home. It's just automated lightings or reminders or some home sense of home security kind of feel for you. And but if there's a task that you do every day and now it can be automated, that is your smart home. Just something to help you out every day.
It seems to me like when I first started hearing about smart homes, it was kind of the integration of the smartphones into your home and being able to basically take your phone and be able to do like the light thing, like you were saying, and adjust different things and kind of integrating technology into a larger area of your house. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, that's
a good way to put it?
Spot on, because you don't have to go and do the automation and the rules and have things happen automatically. Mm-hmm. Just to be able to be at work and see who's at your front door, or, oh, I didn't lock the door, or the garage door still open and control those things. Mm-hmm. Or like the busy season for me getting ready to come up is Amazon package time, or like we like to call holiday November into December, where people are getting packages all the time. Boxes start piling up on your front door. So I've actually had FedEx and UPS guys go, hey, I like it when I don't have to leave, because then people complain and I have to pull logs showing that I actually drop stuff off a lot of times. So somebody's at your door, hey, I'm not there, let me unlock it for you, drop it inside, or I open the garage door, put the packages inside and go on. You don't have to worry about people taking stuff off.
How does that work? Do you like log into your UPS app and I guess tell them you have these features?
No, I mean, if you know, most people, Amazon Prime, you guys are probably very familiar with it. You know when your package is coming. You know what day that it's supposed to show up. And if it's something really valuable or really, nerdy that you want to play with as soon as you get home from work, you know what day it is. So you use something like the Ring video doorbell. You know motion is at your door, or they push the button and ring it. You pull it up. You say, hey, I'm not home right now. Can you do the garage door? And then whatever, you have a lock, you have a garage door opener that can integrate, and you just open it up for them. They'll pop it in, and you're watching them the whole time. And then you close the garage door, lock the door back, and be on about your day knowing that it's all safe inside.
I've heard a lot about that Ring feature. It sounds really cool because I actually used to do home security back, I don't know, almost like 7 years ago now, and that kind of technology wasn't there yet. And it also, it adds a really good level of security to your house, because if anyone rings, you can like literally act like you're there even if you're halfway around the world.
Just explain to people who don't know, what is the Ring?
So think about old school, like you would only find this kind of technology in high-rise apartment complexes or multi-tenant where you could buzz someone in. And some of the newer ones you could see who's there, but now it's replaced the Ring video doorbell. They've got a lot of different types of devices now. You can replace your your flood cam, or your doorbell, which is the most popular really. And it's no extra wiring. As long as you got a doorbell, pop the Ring doorbell on. It connects to your Wi-Fi. It detects motion and it detects push button when somebody rings the doorbell. and it pops up on an app on your phone so you can see who's there. You can just look and say, no, thanks, I don't want any cookies or knowing more about your establishment. Or you can actually answer and say, hey, what's going on? But if you miss it, it's also recorded in the cloud, so you can go back and review that later if you missed because you were in a meeting or somewhere, somebody picking something up off your porch.
So if someone's like trying to break into your front door and they don't even ring the doorbell, because of the motion, it'll start like recording that video.
Yep. As soon as the motion's detected, it goes up on the cloud. There's a lot of I use the solar powered cam, so I don't even have to run power to a lot of these things. So outside of the doorbell, you can have alternate views. You can look down the sides of your house or in the backyard or wherever. So and they call it the circle of safety, but you can have a circle of coverage around your entire home to where it's recorded and you can interact. That's the big piece. Their newer devices actually have sirens built in, so you can manually arm a siren and bring the attention to your house from the neighborhood. That's probably my favorite smart home device right now.
The Ring?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have any other ones that you traditionally recommend?
Thermostats is a big one because if you're married, so if your spouse is, I don't understand why you're spending so much money on technology, start with the ones that'll actually save you money. So your thermostats, managing your heating and cooling. There's Nest is really popular. Ecobee is another one that's huge. Depends on what platform you're really interested in. Android, iPhone, things like that. Those are straight popular because they'll save you money. You get a return on your investment. Save you?
They
do.
I'm trying to talk my wife into letting me get one.
So you can find them pretty darn cheap. And Nest just came out with one that's kind of like an e-ink. It's a e-ink display, like a Kindle almost.
Oh, and
so it's like a paper display. It doesn't have a backlight, so it's like a flat display.
It's like white, grayish in color. It's a lot cheaper than their full blown Nest.
Right.
So you can ease your way into that. But yeah, start with the one thing about the Nest that helps you a lot is that it gives you reports on how much energy you saved or what the average energy cost it cut, because it monitors when you're home and when you're not home. Not creepy Big Brother monitoring, just motion detecting if there's presence in the house. And then it knows your schedule. So it says, hey, Mike, if you come home every day at 6, but you're not home during the day, I'm going to lower the temperature in the house to try to keep things not working so hard, but I'll keep the fan running so it doesn't take so much energy to cool back up. And then I'm going to step up the temperature closer it gets to 6, so it's nice and cool when you get there, but we didn't have to blitz it when you got home and suddenly cranked it to try to get your house cool.
We always have to blitz it. In a 2-story house, we always have to blitz the temperature when we get home. It always happens.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And you can go even farther and pair the Nest with vents. So there's Keen Home makes really good vents that are smart. They'll connect into the Nest ecosystem. So if you put those in, 2 per room, and it says it's really popular in places that only has 1 air conditioner. Most of us don't have 2 air conditioning units, 1 for each floor. So what it does is it syncs with the Nest, and it says, okay, Nest thermostat, you're in the living room, which, okay, great, it's comfortable in the living room, but the bedrooms are really hot. So what we're going to do is you're going to stay on because you want the temperature to get to 76 or 74 or whatever you like it at, and then it's going to tell the Nest to stay on, and it's going to close the vents in the living room so the air pressure can help build up and go back towards the bedrooms to cool the bedrooms. So it helps balance the temperature in the whole home.
So the vents are like they close themselves?
Yes.
Wow. Because we have to do that now. Like we'll close the living room vents just to push the air up to the bedrooms, and we'll close all the basement vents as well.
Yep, they're battery powered too, so you don't have to worry about running any lines to it. They last 6 months to a year, and there's sensors built in to keep the pressure normal. So the worst thing you can do is just close as many vents as you can because it puts all this back pressure up on your air conditioning unit, and it can cause damage. So these vents will know that the pressure is building up, and they'll crack open. So it'll equalize the pressure to keep damage coming from your air conditioning system.
And it sounds like it's mostly programming. So it's not like it's a ton of extra energy to do it. It just sounds like our technology is getting to the point where we can just program these daily routines a lot easier.
Exactly. The apps that come with these devices are so simple that it's almost to the point where you wish, borderline, you go, I wish I could do a little bit more, but that's just the nerd in me, right? Like I always want like 110% worth of control so I can make my own things. But for everybody else, these are devices that once you get it set up, there's an app on your phone. You can make sure they're working or check battery levels. But other than that, it's set it, forget it, and enjoy the weather.
I think that's what people would like the most, is to have something in their home that they don't have to always think about, or that they always have to wonder, is it going to be working or is it not going to be working?
Exactly.
Because I feel like we have one smart home device in our house. It's the LiftMaster garage door opener, and we've had problems with like the network going down or internet not working. So I've had times where I was at work and I'm like, garage close, and I'm like, it's not closing. So the garage was open the whole day I was at work, and I called into their tech support, and they're like, well, there's nothing you can do. You need to reset your network when you get home. So what happens when stuff like that goes awry? Is that common, or is that just like one of those things you just have to live with?
So this one of those things with technology that you have to make sure your underlying infrastructure is up to par. So when we do consultations, somebody will come out and say, hey, I just want water sensors so I know if it leaks. I'm like, great. Well, let's take a look and see how your wireless is. Because more and more, there isn't any given standard of what is, this is the go-to. And there probably won't be, because every company is going to want to make their own thing up until this point to try to win out and beat what's going to become more popular, DVD, Blu-ray, or HD DVDs, you know? So that's kind of the same scenario. Every company uses their own technology. So if you want this, or this, it's got to play well together. But what we can pretty much agree on is Wi-Fi in the home is not getting any less utilized. So that's one thing we start with is, hey, we have to check out your wireless. If you think you have good coverage, you probably don't. You just, phone is only rating out of 5 bars. So if you have 1 or 2 bars, you might as well say you don't have really good coverage, because things will fluctuate, especially when you want that quick response. But if it's a weak signal, it's trying to figure out if it actually has internet or reconnecting to the internet, and things like that happen. So definitely, there's a lot of cool products out right now, like Eero, if you haven't heard of those guys. It's a wireless access point where you have one that's plugged into your firewall and your modem, but then it acts as your brains of the operation, and then you have these little satellite ones that connect over Wi-Fi, and it creates a mesh. So it can expand your wireless coverage throughout your house, but it doesn't cut your bandwidth. So the farther you get away, you still have really good bandwidth and speed, but it will cover everything in the nooks and crannies.
Yeah, I think I saw Google's.
Yeah, Google Wi-Fi, same concept. They came out a little bit after Eero. My rule of thumb, I love Google. I think everyone probably has a Google account for whatever reason. They innovate, they do really good, but they have the track history of when they get bored with something, they let it go.
Oh, yeah.
Or they don't update
true.
it. So I would love to say, dive into Google this, and this, especially the Google Wi-Fi, because it's a little cheaper. And I have people at work that use it, and they say it's great, it works. But what happens when they don't update it anymore and it doesn't do whatever new feature? So I try to stick. I'll test whatever, but I try to stick with the popular brands that have been. That's what they do. This company only does this, and if they don't, they're out of business, whatever, but they're doing it well, and they did it first, so they're that much ahead.
They're not distracted by other big projects like
Right.
Google would. I know. I'm still waiting for my Google Glass update. I have a feeling that's never coming. I don't know. I'm wearing this like a dork all around town, but I'm like, what the heck? I'm still waiting. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. Actually, I just...
He wears that at home.
It makes me feel futuristic. No. I actually just upgraded me and Bethany's apartment a little bit to have a smart device and a new member of our family. So we have a little robot vacuum, and I say it's a smart device, but we nicknamed it Dory, okay, from Finding Nemo, because it's also blue and black, like, or a dark charcoal color, and that thing bumps around like the dumbest thing ever. And that's part of its design. It's supposed to hit all like the corners and things like that. But oh my gosh, that thing is so funny. But it works. It works. I've been enjoying it.
I keep saying, my wife wants one, and I was like, I'll get you one, but I'm going to wait a little bit, because they're like $400 or $500 for the higher end, or you can get some of the other ones that maybe like $100, $130.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It depends, like on sale, and when they go, like a Woot, you watch website Woot, so you can see when they have Woot offs, and they have, sometimes they'll sneak in. if you do monoprice.com, that's a website out of the company out of Canada that sells like bulk cabling and stuff, but sometimes they have those vacuums pretty cheap.
We got ours for $200 at Target, and it was originally for $300.
Is it the iRobot?
No, it's Abyssal version.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was like called Smart Clean or something like that. I forget off the top of my head, though.
So the top end iRobot and the ones that Samsung are building have a different form of radar or LiDAR built in, so it actually maps your home. And then what their future plan on that is now they know
sell it to the government so that everyone knows your floor plan.
That's probably exactly what'll happen. It'll be one of those things where the first couple of years they'll swear they won't do anything, and then all of a sudden there's a terms and agreement update that no one reads that says, oh, by the way, when you hit I agree to use your cool vacuum, we've already updated the map so we know your exact floor plan. But the goal that they say that this is going to do is once it maps your entire floor plan, it actually knows where the boundaries are, and then it's going to use like Bluetooth technology to say, hey, whatever device at the time, keyword, Amazon, or whatever. We don't want to set those off for anybody listening, but where's my keys? And then, oh yeah, it's in the master bedroom closer to the bathroom wall.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Where the smart home will tell you exactly where you left things.
Right, exactly.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it could be, but you see every day walking around town, the cameras going up and, all these dishes, and everyone wants all this extra layer of security because, yeah, we don't want the big brother, but at the same time, we don't want to be sued by somebody just because that's the go-to nowadays.
Right.
Where I tripped on the crack in your driveway or your sidewalks. It's been there for 40 years.
Yeah, it's like you didn't clean off the sidewalk well enough when it snowed, and now I'm going to sue you type of stuff. And then if you have a video, then it's like, yeah, we have a video of you tripping yourself and throwing yourself to the ground.
Right. It's like a couple years ago, people were making fun of like Russian stuff. I'm like, oh, that sucks having to live there because they have dash cams everywhere. Like, why would you want to live in that situation? And they're all over Best Buy and office supplies. I've walked down the street in Cincinnati and see them on in dashes and stuff.
You're
now.
Seeing it more and more.
They're more and more. People are just shady, trying to find the easiest way of making a big buck on somebody nowadays.
It's a really smart idea because especially if you're out on the road a lot, like me, because I'm a trucker. Anyway, all right.
He's like, I got cameras everywhere.
If you're counting, that's one time I've mentioned that this podcast. But no, it's super smart because it really saves you, because with insurance and whatnot, you have to fight with the insurance companies, and then you'll be talking to the person who completely sideswiped you or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. As soon as the cop gets there, they're like, what? It wasn't my fault. It's like, well, if you have that dash cam or rear cam or whatever like that, dude, okay. I didn't have 5 hours to edit this video. This is straight from,
exactly what happened. Yeah.
From the eye,
Yep. Oh yeah, it's definitely beneficial. So yeah, I mean, the whole home audio kind of picks in there a little bit, but honestly, the Sonos Ring and Wi-Fi that has been huge.
Okay, so basically, what you're saying is, if you want to go smart home, the best thing to do first is to make sure you have good Wi-Fi.
Yes.
So that's step one. My next question is this. Okay, when you upgrade your house to a smart home, like add additional products and like new products, how do you protect yourself from like digitally being hacked? Because, all right, I'm not sure if you've all seen this story or not, but this story's been going viral for the past year or two. And a lady, she has a baby monitor in her room, and she complained that her baby would be like hearing voices at night, like people would be like hacking into the baby monitor and like talking to the baby in the middle of the night.
Sleep tight, little baby. You're not gonna have a nightmare.
Yeah, so like you don't think of those type of scenarios when you buy a smart home product. So how do you protect yourself from like those horror stories?
So here's the big deal with that is it's all marketing with companies wanting to sell products to everyone as fast as they can without actually giving any kind of education to it. So you go into the store, you see all these colorful boxes, and the associates that are really there to sell you a service plan or whatever is just like, yeah, that's the bee's knees, and you should get that because it's a pretty box and everyone says to get it and it should work fine. Well, that's because marketing does that to you. You feel super safe because you bought it from a reputable store, you put it in, and it works. It works because the firewalls you buy, the Linksys, Netgears, those consumer brand wireless router, firewall combo things that you buy at the stores are set up in such a way that it automatically allows the devices that you plug in to open ports on the firewall to let things in remotely. Game systems are really popular that does that, but cameras do the same thing because it's touting a feature that you can watch your camera remotely by using this app. Well, if you can watch it remotely, by default, anybody else can watch it remotely, and then there's not that extra step involved of actually changing passwords. What we do is we go in and we put in even if you use a regular firewall, we have our own brand that we typically use that's a little bit more than residential grade because it's built in with VPN access. So we turn off auto opening ports. It's called universal plug and play. We turn that off on the firewall so devices can't open up their own rules. And then we do a VPN connection. We set your phones up, we set your computers up so you can securely connect to your home and then access those devices. So they're not open to the world. But we also change all the passwords. You use secure passwords, you use a secure username that's more than just Mike, It's something a little bit more complicated. And your passwords, believe it or not, you're not supposed to use your phone number or your street address or the word password.
Or I heard football.
I've been doing that wrong.
Football is a bad password as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you're a client of mine, you have to change your password. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. We go through and we make sure. So yeah, any of that stuff I'll open you up if you just plug it in and let it go. It's the consumer marketing that says just plug it in and go. It's easy. It's super easy. No one wants to have to think about it. Well, unfortunately, you got to think about it a little bit because you have to take those steps to secure things up a little bit for you.
Basically, make your passwords a little bit better than they usually are.
Yes.
Make sure you have some sort of firewall protection, and make sure that you change the passwords that come like standard in the box.
Exactly.
From like the default password.
Yep.
Because in the box, like they'll say, okay, the factory password is password 1.
Yep.
And you're like, all right, that's good enough. That should work.
I heard this crazy story. This doesn't have to do with smart homes necessarily, but it has to do with passwords. But there's like ATM machines out there that have default passwords and default codes still on them. And I heard this story of this like teenage kid getting a hold of one of like the manuals and going to an ATM and just kind of screwing around with it and using the typical passwords and getting like handfuls of cash. So like in every aspect, not even just your smart home and your devices and stuff like that. Okay, passwords are important, people, all right? Change them.
So, Chris, do you have any like exciting new products or anything coming out like on the horizon that you're like super like jazzed about?
There's a couple that I'm pretty excited about, and you may not heard of. One of them you won't use unless you're an iOS fanboy, which I love Apple, so you can hate on me all you want, but that's just how it is, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm a big fan of Sonos too. There's a company called AirHome, so airhome.io, and if you go check this out, they're trying to compete with the Sonos or the whole home audio, but for iOS. So with HomeKit becoming more popular, the reason I'm excited for this is because it ties into that. So all your switches and sensors and locks, now all your whole home audio is going to be on a single dashboard integrated with the Apple products. But they're crafty with it too. It's a singular module that kind of goes in your basement, and all the wires go into that. And then you can upgrade by cartridges.
What?
Yeah, so it's got cartridges that actually have the amp and maintenance and all the performance and the processing and all that stuff in it. So your speakers just wire into this wall panel, and then you just load in a cartridge that integrates that service into whole home. You can configure a room just to be stereo, or put a new cartridge in, and now it's surround sound all through AirPlay. So you got an Apple TV, and now you want the Apple TV to directly control your surround sound in there?
In a way, it's almost a modular system.
It
kinda?
is, yeah.
Okay.
Now, you like this because Sonos is its own standard, right?
Well, I like it because I have people who ask me for an Apple house. They'll go and they'll say, I only want Apple products. And up until here recently, maybe the last 3 to 6 months, a lot of times I have to say, try something like Smart Things and an iPad app. That's about as close as you're going to get, because I don't want to put in anything that I'm going to have to constantly visit and maintain and upkeep, and you're not going to want to pay me to do that. So I like to put stuff in that you're happy with, and then you ask for more later, and that's why I'm coming back. And Apple, the HomeKit, really, they talked for years almost on how awesome it was going to be, but the devices just weren't that popular. But now you can actually get switches and locks, and you can get the core functionality that I would do with like a Smart Things or Zapato type home automation system, but you can get it that directly integrates with your Apple. So yeah, if you're a Apple purist per se, and you don't want anything that you have to work around with multiple apps, you just want one app that will go in and it's already built into your phone and supported by the operating system, then that is what excites me, because there are people out there that just want the Apple Home.
So is HomeKit actually an Apple standard?
Yeah, so HomeKit's Apple standard and Apple's technology and communication platform, and it's built in. So if you have an iPhone within the last operating system, you notice there's a home app on your dashboard, and you can't really do anything with it unless you have all those devices and functionality built into it. At most, you could do Philips Hue.
Does Apple actually make any of these products, or are they just kind of making the software themselves and then letting other companies use their standard?
The closest product that Apple is going to have released that will work with this is the HomePod, their answer to Alexa, Echo. Dang, that's going to set some people off. I'm sorry. But,
sorry about that, Apple.
Yeah, sorry, guys. But that's the Home Assistant. There you go. That's their answer to it. But it's a bridge because they put really good speakers in there. So it's a Home Assistant / Sonos competitor, all kind of thrown in together. But that is the only thing they make. Otherwise, they have a strict standard process that the other manufacturers have to go through, and that's how they get in there. So the other one is called Brilliant.tech, and they're doing a wall switch that integrate with a ton of different services, and it's an LCD type display, so it brings in your weather, your home, the assistant system, the voice assistant system. It throws it all in there. And so I'm keeping an eye on those, and really interested to see how they mature and they stabilize.
It's got to be kind of hard for you being in the business, because you really have to hedge your bets on what technology is going to be lasting, which softwares, which companies are going to be going the distance. Because how awful would it be to be setting some people up with some smart home features and then for it just to be discontinued in 5 years or less?
That is a big concern I have. And when I do my consultations, I sit down with them and say, this is the possibility with the route that you want to go. But there's always a safe bet like Zigbee, Z-Wave that have been home automation standards for a long time. And Samsung has bought a company called Smart Things that has made that a lot more popular. So there's a lot more devices. So if you're actually looking for home automation devices, that open-close sensors and things like that, the tried and true, that's the route that I would go.
Smart Things.
Yeah. We use another one called Zapato that's tries to throw in some more security panel type functionality, and it's offline, where back to your original Smart Things all cloud. So what do you do when the internet's out? You kind of...
It all runs off the internet. Yeah. Kind of like the electricity. If your electricity's out, nothing works. So,
exactly.
Yeah, same concept.
We're still in that fine line of convenience and entertainment versus utility, because a lot of this is being a big push to the cloud and internet, and you have to have that connected home is what they try to say. You have to have good internet. That's pretty much your baseline. And if internet goes out, things go out. I mean, for most people, if you're a cord cutter, right, if the internet goes out, you can't even watch TV unless you got the data plan on your mobile or you put an antenna up. But those are all trends, and we're all in those early phases of where this is going to go. See how that turns out for everyone.
Yeah, there's all these competing standards, and right now, even the digital assistants, there are even standards for that now too. So there's Amazon's Alexa.
See, he did it.
Yeah, I almost said Bixby. So there's Amazon Alexa, there's Samsung Bixby, there's Google Home. And then there's Siri from Apple, and then there's Cortana from Microsoft.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody
Cortana.
forgets about Cortana. And recently, Cortana's like, we're syncing. We're in a syncing chip. We're gonna combine with Alexa. So recently, they announced that Alexa and Cortana are gonna be working together.
I'm actually really surprised that Microsoft doesn't have a better or more established smart home kind of feature, especially since the first time I ever heard about a smart home was with Bill Gates and his big mansion, how you have to walk around with like a name card that has a microchip that like tells the system in his house like what kind of music you like, what kind of temperatures you like all this information. Like that was the first smart home I ever heard of. So I would have thought he would have put a lot more effort into that.
They did a whole lot of work back in the day. If anyone remembers Media Center,
Yes.
I used to work for an IT company that would do those types of installs, and we would go in and we would wire your house, and it was all into like one big media center, and there was extenders and cable cards and things like that. And then they try to get into controlling some devices with like relay boards. So they actually did some huge projects early on to really get that kind of thing going, and then like, yeah, Windows Vista will be okay, or 7 or whatever. They discontinued.
So they got sidetracked and kind of left it behind a bit?
Yeah. There's a huge, like, if you do the internet, there's like a huge board of people that are like media center enthusiasts.
I feel like everybody's a little bit late to the party, though. I feel like Apple should have jumped on the bandwagon sooner. I feel like Samsung should have jumped on the bandwagon sooner, and Google, like, they all are like reluctant to jump into this like area because I guess there's not like a official standard, and I think a couple of the companies were trying to get a official standard at one point, and they weren't able to come to an agreement.
Yeah, Google tried to do that whole collaborative board and got a bunch of companies online.
Yeah, Google
board.
did that. Yeah,
and then they figured out, no, I can make more money if I just make better projects, and then I win the standard, and then people have to come to me. So we're in that whole, that's why I kind of reference Blu-ray and HD DVD. You're in that battle zone right now of who's going to win out on making the most popular products, and then everyone else has to get on board.
All right, so final question, guys. Where do you think smart homes will be going in our lifetime?
That is a really interesting concept, and I kind of picture they already have like the Roomba, the vacuums. Well, they've made those into mowers now, so you all have these communities that it mows the grass for you, it sweeps up the snow, and maybe even empties the trash cans for you without having to worry about it. And then I've seen paint on screens and paint on power. So you paint your wall, then you can pick where your outlet is because it's all going through conductive material. I wouldn't jump on that right now, but it's just crazy to see where that kind of stuff is. You'll literally have just not a whole lot of work to do.
Yeah,
at home.
think about this paint that you could just change the color of your wall at will.
Right. Or you just say, okay, I want 2 monitors in front of my desk, or that whole wall is my really nice TV now. So you can, or just you seen the HoloLens even? The previews for those,
where
it puts the TV in front of you. It's kind of like the Google Glass that you like to wear all over the place, but it puts the TV in front of you. It's not really there. It's just a projection on the lens in front of you, but then you can just resize it, or it follows you through the house and while you're doing all the work. Now imagine people with eye issues not being able to wear those kind of glasses. Now it's on your wall because it's it's paint on screen that just kind of follows you through. That would be cool. That would be my crazy one.
It really
right there.
seems like a lot of this technology, it's pretty much endless. It seems like as far as like the imagination goes, it can really go in a lot of directions. And hearing about how things are getting integrated into like a central system, I think as long as this technology grows, which I think it is, like just that standard thing, and then integrating it into like a one place, like one central hub kind of thing, and just making it easier for everyone. I think that's really going to be the next step of
companies already
organizing it all.
There's companies already running fiber to homes, right? So internet connectivity, that kind of stuff is just going to be one of those things when you move in. It's just another utility box on the outside of the house that you don't even have to think about that, and it just branches through. So how we probably upset or tripped a couple devices tonight, like with the Amazons and the
Alexas.
Yeah, the Alexas. I was just wondering, have you guys ever said, "Hey Alexa, subscribe to the Future Jam podcast"? Have you ever tried that?
Oh, we didn't, but
Yeah.
I guess we just did, didn't we?
Or, "Hey Siri, subscribe to the Future Jam podcast." Watch those numbers go
hey man,
up,
you're,
boys.
You're gonna make us some enemies out there. That wasn't us. It was him. It's all him.
So when will I not be able to cook dinner and like wash dishes? I want to just have that feature.
Have you heard of this app called like Uber Eats and things like that?
Oh yeah.
You can integrate that with your Alexa and it'll tell it to
I'm sure
deliver a dinner. So
yeah, I'm sure there'll be like an app on your refrigerator here pretty soon where you can just bring up a menu for Uber Eats and be like, bleep, I want that hamburger here in 10 minutes. Boom.
well, there's a Samsung fridge now that puts sensors on it also. It says you have enough ingredients to make this. And then you go, yeah, that does sound good. Yep, it's delivered in 10 minutes. I'm not making anything. So whenever someone steps up and does the Uber of house cleaning, that'll be when you don't have to do anything. You just hit an app and wait for someone to show up.
So I think the dream is we just want to have more free time, and we want to come home from work and not have to worry about doing house chores and house cleaning and cooking and all that. So I think that's the future of smart homes, is making your life a ton easier. However that works out, or however that ends up playing out, I think that really is the future of it.
Give you some time back.
Yeah, give you time back. And I'll give you some time back real quick. I'll let you go. I'm just kidding.
He's like, well, see you later. All right.
Get out of here, Chris.
Exit stage right.
So, Chris, where can people, like, if somebody is interested in getting smart home, smart home products installed in their house, how can somebody reach you?
So the easiest way, because we're on an audio podcast that kind of gets out, and I've given phone numbers out before, and they've been some robocalls going. So go to the website, smarthomehq.net. My name is Chris. I'm also at smarthomehq.net if you need to send me an electronic mail. But if you go to smarthomehq.net, there's a form you can fill out. There is a contact information on that one. So you can hit me up with some questions or answers, and I'll go back and forth. Whenever I actually move in, I just sold my home. So whenever I move into my new one, I will be doing some more podcasts, and I'm happy to have you guys and stuff. But so send us some contact info. Hit me up on the website.
Also, you have a demo house, right?
We do have a demo house. It is occupied. So there's and that's the best kind of demo house, because somebody living there tells us when things don't work out. So we're always swapping in and out different gadgets, but we do schedule appointments where we can go out and tour it. We do have consultations and stuff first, just to make sure that we're not kicking someone out of their house for just random internet people wanting to come and see what it's all about. But if you're interested, yes, we do consultations, and we can help you get set up with all kinds of cool gadgets. And I've actually traveled for it too. So that was one of the things the podcast helped out, was not just sitting here in Kentucky or Ohio, Florida and California.
Whoa.
I was like, yeah, you got to pay for the trip out. They're like, okay. I'm like,
No
yes,
way.
Yes.
That's awesome. I would have thought that there would be some people out that way, but hey,
It's
you're the
not really-
man.
Yeah. But, well, thanks for podcast.
And he was on WCPO. He got interviewed. You were pretty stoked about that in your last podcast.
That was awesome. So the cool part about that too is the affiliate. So it's sent out. I had family in Tennessee. They're like, hey, I saw you on TV. I'm like, that wasn't me. I swear. It was a big misunderstanding. They dropped all charges. She's like, no, the news. So I was like, really? Cincinnati News is broadcasting down? They're like, no, it's just a local clip, and they kind of edited it a bit. I was like, that's so awesome. I wonder how many people have seen my mug now.
They probably all share like stories.
Exactly.
amongst each
Sure.
other.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's funny. That's awesome. So thanks for coming in this week, Chris.
Yeah, I love coming out to different shows and stuff. It's awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was great. And Harrison, I'm never going to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for not thanking me, Mike. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's an implied thank you.
Yeah, it's implied thank you. You know I'm always really thankful.
I don't know. Sometimes you just got to show it more, man.
So you
Why are you guys hugging right now? It's really weird, but okay.
It is really weird. I don't know how I can reach across the table.
It's a bro hug.
It's a bro hug. So you can follow us at The Future Jam on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere. Gosh, we're on YouTube now. And there's been a lot of conversation happening between just two people on our on our Future Jam discussion page. So join in with these two guys that are going back and forth and make it more of a party. And thanks for joining us. Goodbye.